Hey guys, it's a cold one this morning. It's 18 degrees out right now. It's end of January when we're doing this video. We're going to install an oil-fired boiler today. We did an oil-fired one yesterday as well. I'll put some videos up because yesterday's boiler was just a typical challenge of what, if you're not careful of what you're looking at on the inspection or I don't want to say sales call. Inspection's better. When you're going to price a job, you could really get hurt. So this particular one, I'll have Frank post the pictures. I'll send it to him. I'll put them in right now. One step had to actually come out on the landing in order to get the boiler up on the landing and then up onto another step. Had we not done that, we would have got to the job and attempted to take a boiler in and a boiler out, and it would have never worked. As some of you know, I used to install for a lot of companies on the island as a subcontractor, and not to say all the salesmen, but most of the salesmen aren't seasoned guys in the field, and I can't tell you how many times we've gone to job sites when a salesman sells a job and we would arrive and either the boiler was too big or the boiler wouldn't fit or the stairs weren't capable of holding the load of a boiler, or even on the air conditioning. You know, we get the jobs where the air handler wouldn't fit up in the attic. So you really got to be careful on your inspections and make sure you tell everything to the customer. You know, unfortunately this one, I had to call our carpenter in to remove the step, let us get the boiler down, and then this morning he's actually putting the step back in. So while he's doing that, we're going to do another boiler in Babylon. So Frank, my marketing guy, is going to meet us there. He'll do some video, and once again, you know, how we take the boilers in. I'll try to get him to see how we disassemble a boiler. We try to label the wiring as best we can. We obviously have to label the plumbing, make sure what our supplies and returns are. And, you know, it should be an interesting day. So, talk to you in a bit. So look, one of the original Ryan Anthony magnets and a tag. They've been a customer. I think I started hanging these tags in '09, but they've been a customer since 13. Good customers. But here, take a look at this. I don't know if the customer knew this or not, but that section was leaking. You can see it's been leaking a while. So, good thing we're taking it out. So once again, we're cutting the bottom nipple off after we drained it. We tilted it, pumped it out as best we can. You're still gonna get some mud coming out, so we'll shove rags in it and take it up the stairs. Now you guys are gonna see George today, so if you guys have seen City Slickers and you remember Curly the Trail Boss, try to see if George reminds you of Curly the Trail Boss, because they don't make any more George McClanes. So what this was a homeowner makeshift leak repair, because it was over here. And look at this pipe. Can you catch that? I'll shine my light on it. Because that packing nut was leaking, dripping onto this pipe, and then he had the catch there. It's funny. We'll cut it out and replace it. But that's all it was his packing nut. Yeah. Put a little dope to help the rope stick. A little trick. Otherwise you're fighting it. So we buy our boilers knockdowns, So we build them. I have that video from last week. We're building that one in the shop. Rope goes there.
It's an asbestos rope to seal the flue to the boiler.
Because if you look in here, Frank, I'll shine a light. This is where, this hole here, this is what no one really sees. This is where the burner mounts. You got your firebox in here. And then all the exhaust.
Give me the rear jacket and give me the screws to the jacket, Dan.
You're interrupting.
I'm sorry.
All the exhaust comes up through these push nipples, out through your smoke pipe, and then through the chimney. And that's how it works. So you don't want this open. You have to have it sealed. We put on another piece right here, which we'll have on in a second. And we put a gasket on that too. Thing aside though, George doesn't have to be here. Can I say yeah, he's retired. He used to work for Romanelli, which I used to do all their installs for a long time, which is where I met George. He started picking on me then, that was probably 10 years ago. Still picks on me today. But Petro bought him. And how long did you last at Petro?
About 3 years.
3 years? And then he came to work with us. So, normally he's just handling our inventory and stuff, but we're so short-handed. It's all hands on deck. Right, Dan?
Yes.
Till Dan lows, and Dan's running these jobs. That's the plan.
It's not there. It's not going through the jacket, Ace.
Give me the jacket, you grump. It's the other one. Hold on.
I'm telling you, these holes are not cut out right.
Then it's a different jacket, because that one goes through every single one.
I know.
Why you get a drill?
Those holes are too small.
Get a drill and make it bigger.
How do you do it? Just make it flush or whatever?
Yeah, tight enough where the burner's going to mount on this with that gasket, and then those bolts. But I put these bolts on now so you don't lose them. Because if you don't take the door off, you won't get over these, and it'll never seal right.
Okay.
Now you can put the door back.
If I don't say anything, it really be hurt.
I know. I wonder if you were okay, actually. If you weren't picking on me.
All right. I'll be back shortly.
We'll miss you. Ugh, yucky boiler water on my neck. More juice.
I think the kids call it gear nowadays.
What do they call it?
Gear.
Gear? Oh, the sauce? The juice. Hello, Ryan Anthony's. So I have a good story about these flanges. Years ago, we were doing a boiler for my friend Frank in West Babylon. He's a gym buddy of ours from World Gym in West Babylon. Some of you guys obviously know our place. It was awesome. But my meathead partner Bob in my construction company is still the only guy to this day. It wasn't brass. It was this casting to tighten these bolts so tight that it snapped. It snapped. It was this one. It snapped right off. So, gorilla strength from Bob. He was actually. I texted him a picture of yesterday's boiler, and he reminded me of it. So, it's always fun. So, I never comment on anybody's work, whether it's good, bad, anything, just because it's like my pet peeve. Guys try to nitpick us, and I usually, if you guys see the comments, I usually, tell them they're wrong. Not that I'm a closed-minded person, but, with boilers, I mean, we're pretty much on the ball. And if anything I'm going to do wrong, George is going to probably yell at me before it goes to the finished product anyway. But anyway, we use a 36-inch nipple here on a return. This brings my feed up high enough. Let me not thread this now. I did. Look at that. So when I tighten this, I'll tighten it up. I do my feed up here. The reason we do the feed valve up here is so when I isolate my supplies and returns, it takes this much of a bucket. Sorry, Frank. Quarter of a bucket to take the pressure off the system for me to come back years later if the feed valve goes bad. So we do everything installation wise with the thought process of where the guy's coming back, and we're going to make it as easy as possible for service purposes in the future. You'll see when it's all done. now that I told you my secret of our return piping on Peerless Boilers, it's trademarked. You guys can use it, but you can't say that you tried it or invented it. Richie Nicolai was another installer for Romanelli. He used to come out with his feed valve here and then do a copper piece, all in copper. Easier on iron pipe, stronger, it's more stable when you're changing it, and that's trademark. We brought that to Romanelli when we were doing Romanelli and Sons installations. Romanelli, who's now Petro. I could say that now. We used to do all this subbing and we couldn't tell anybody that we subbed. We didn't sign anything saying it, but you know, we did everybody's boilers. All right, don't let this turn. Boil up. See it? Level pipes. As I can't thread this in.
Well, I'm filming it. Don't worry.
Just can't find. There we go. Okay. So, see the wiring? You guys see anything weird here? 4 black wires. Never trust the wiring. So, we labeled it different. We have the switch right up there. Either years ago, technicians would like try to trick other technicians so you didn't know which was the hot, which was the neutral, which was the thermostat. Or they just didn't have black and white wire coming from the box up there from the switch. So they came down in 2 blacks. But when I cut the boiler out, I labeled what was my neutral. So I still have my white wire. So when I reconnect it, not only will we test it, we'll also have the wiring that's there. So I know my hot and neutral's there. And then here's my thermostat. I still have it attached. So we know what's what here. All right? Silly technicians. This fitting can dope only, because this is for a control that has a lower cutoff in it, which is town requirement. And if you tape it, the tape will sometimes ground out and make it have a false reading that there's low water in the boiler, and you'll be going back. So we only dope them. I'm getting real tight.